You're watching Ticket TV. Like, share, and subscribe on your way in.
Yeah, man, I had to tap back in. You know, I was sitting here and salute chat. Appreciate all y'all tapping on in. Like, share, subscribe as y'all come in. Share the video, like the video. I got some big information for y'all again. Boy, they want to play. Let's play. I can go all day. I can go all day. I can go all night. However long y'all want to go. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all want to play this game? Let's play. We can do this all night. Salute to everybody. Support the chat. Follow the stream. Follow us on Kick. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. All links in the description box. And salute to everybody. Support the channel. Been donating to the stream. Deshaun Hawkins. Salute to you in the Cash App. Same thing as Yasana Hartfield. Same thing as Sonia Fuller. Salute to you with the donation. Anthony Smith. Salute to you in the Cash App. Carl Ray. Salute to you in the Cash App with the donation. April Robinson Higdon. Salute to you in the Cash App with the donation. We're going to get right into it. Megan Kelly, I heard what you said. Megan Kelly, you sound like a racist, Megan Kelly. Now, Megan Kelly, you went on your channel, and because you said this, I'm going to drop undisputable evidence. Because I heard something last night, and I did my research, and I already had this all lined up. I wasn't even going to do this video till later on the night. I was going to come back and do this video later on the night. But when I heard Megan Kelly come out an hour ago and say that she's fact-checking every lie from Karmelo Anthony's parents and race hustlers spinning a fake narrative, man, we're not finna no fake narrative. And I have something for y'all right here. And to the person who says, stop, bro, he stabbed dude, guess what? I want you to wait right here, sir. I don't think you really want to smoke with me. I don't think that you know what I know and what I'm about to reveal that happened. And I'm going to tell you something. That boy won't get that case overturned. I'm going to tell y'all why. I didn't know. But when I listened, and I listened 5 times to Karmelo Anthony's parents' interview with the Breakfast Club yesterday. That was the most extensive interview. And the father said something in the interview. And it stuck with me all last night. The father said something in that interview. It stuck with me all last night. And what he said was, when they said that his son had been shipped off to jail or to prison, he said that his son suffered from seizures. And that changes everything. I am starting to believe now that Karmelo Anthony may have had a legitimate self-defense claim. And I am starting to really believe he got railroaded. I already believe he got railroaded, but I'm about to tell you why self-defense. I looked it up because I wanted to see if this was presented in court. It was presented in court, and the jury ignored this. I don't think that the lawyer brought in the proper doctors to explain this, and I'm about to explain this to you guys right now. And when you hear this video, it may change everything you think about this case, and I'm dead serious. Hit the like button, share the video. Karmelo Anthony, yes, Karmelo Anthony suffers from, y'all see that? Epilepsy. I didn't notice until his father said it in the interview yesterday that he had to send his medication to the jail so they could give it to him in the prison because his son suffers from epilepsy, right? That's a neurological condition that causes seizures. Now, we finna get into this right now. Oh, we finna get into this, change everything. I didn't notice till his dad said yesterday. But also, the medical detail was officially confirmed by the defense attorney. The defense attorney confirmed this in his trial in Collin County, Texas, according to the court disclosures and the family reports as well. Karmelo Anthony's condition has had a direct physical impact on his life, including Karmelo Anthony, you guys, suffering a serious head injury sustained during an epileptic episode in 2024. This boy suffered from seizures, and he's currently on seizure medication. Hold on, you guys, and I'm about to tell y'all why this is real. His dad said something in that Breakfast Club interview that y'all got to go back and watch, that he told that girl. He told the lady that was interviewing him on the Breakfast Club that he took the son's medicine to the jail yesterday because they had already transferred him to the prison. So he didn't know. So they had to get the medicine to the prison. So when he said the son had suffered from epilepsy, I had to look it up. I said, what? This can't be real. They introduced this in court. But the jury didn't care. This is a big problem because you needed a doctor to explain this. But don't worry, I'm here to break this down to you guys. Right? The context involving his condition. The trial disclosures. During the trial, the Nevy's law firm and defense attorney Mike Howard introduced his epilepsy diagnosis to provide critical context regarding his vulnerability and state of mind during the physical altercation. And I'm about to prove something to everybody listening to this video right now. When you have epilepsy, listen to what I'm saying, and you suffer from seizures, a push, physical violence, or fear can cause you to have a seizure and you could potentially die. I'm going to prove it right now, not by me, by the medical standard. Here we go right here. They had a doctor going there, and I didn't even know this until I looked this up. They had the Nevy's law firm, right? And the defense attorney, Mike Howard, introduced his diagnosis. They introduced his paperwork into the trial. The jury did not care that this boy suffered from seizures. Let's keep going, right? They used that to provide the critical context, right, of his vulnerability and his state of mind during this altercation. The case background. Now listen to this, right? Now, hold on. The defense argument, right? His legal team argued that self-defense highlighted a physical altercation posing life-threatening risk to someone with epilepsy while recovering from recent health issues. I didn't know Karmelo had recent health issues. This changes everything. This changes everything, right? Right? Listen to this, y'all. It's even been reported now that when Karmelo Anthony was transported following his conviction, when he was transported, public records and media reports have indicated now that when Karmelo Anthony was transported to the Texas State Prison Facility, equipped to manage medical and generic needs to ensure his seizures are monitored. Hold on, y'all. I had to look. This is why you have to do your research. And I went to the medical website and I have a doctor's opinion. This is fear is one of the main features of epileptic seizures. And I had to ask a question. And I'm going to show y'all the question I asked. Can pushes or physical altercations cause seizures? Yes. Pushes or physical altercations can cause or trigger seizures through both physical trauma and extreme psychological stress. When a physical conflict occurs, it can spark, and I got this right here in front of y'all face, it can spark a seizure in an individual immediately, within days, or even years down the road, depending on the nature of the injury. The underlying biological mechanisms vary based on whether the person has pre-existing epilepsy or is experiencing a new neurological event. Now, look to the next. Direct physical trauma and traumatic brain injury, right? If a push results in a person falling, striking their head, remember they're in the bleachers. If a push results in a person falling, striking their head, or being directly punched, it can cause a traumatic brain injury, according to data tracked by organizations like the Model Systems Knowledge Translation Center, the MSKTC. Roughly 1 in 10 individuals hospitalized with a TBI will experience subsequent seizures. This wasn't a normal case. This boy suffered from seizures before this, and he got the medical records to prove it. One push and him hitting his head could have caused him to have a seizure and die, and I'm going to prove it. Hold on. This is not me. I'm going to prove the medical reports. You can get mad all you want to get mad. You can't take away the factual information. And they entered this evidence in the court, and the jury still ignored it. I'm about to show y'all this right now. Immediate versus late seizures. A sudden blow can disrupt the brain's electrical currents immediately. Alternately, Alternately, right? Structural changes such as brain tissue scarring or localized bleeding can lead to epilepsy even years later. Now look at this, y'all. Extreme stress or psychological triggers. Acute stress spikes. A physical fight induces an immediate massive spike. Why am I saying this? Carmelo Anthony could not fight that boy. Carmelo Anthony probably had to have a knife. He can't fight. I heard the brother talk on Willie D's channel, the lawyer, the other day. He said, I teach my kids how to use their hands. Carmelo Anthony can't fight. If Carmelo Anthony was to get in a fight and get punched in the head, he could die from a seizure. These are facts. This is not me making this up. They have put his medical records in the courthouse, and he had to have a special setup in the jail because he suffers from those seizures. His father said it in the Breakfast Club interview that they had to take his seizure medication down there. That boy suffered from seizures. Hold on, y'all. See, I didn't even know all this. I did not know all this. So he physically cannot get into a physical fight confrontation, because if he gets hit in the head, he can have a seizure and die. And I'm gonna prove it. I got more information. Hold on, and I'm gonna show y'all the real. I'm gonna play the real and show y'all the real information. Hold on 1 second. Right. So basically, it says a physical fight induces an immediate massive spike in psychological and physical stress. As detailed by the Epilepsy Foundation, stress alters the brain chemicals, signals, and breathing patterns, making it the most common self-reported trigger for individuals who already live with epilepsy. That's the most common. The most common trigger is a physical altercation. This is not me. This is the Epilepsy Foundation that have confirmed this. You can look it up yourselves. Don't get mad at me. I'm showing y'all, right? And I'm not saying, hey, this is the excuse to kill somebody. I'm saying this is the reason why he didn't use his hands. He physically can't fight. If somebody hits him in the head, he's going to be bound to probably have a seizure, and he could potentially die from that seizure. Read what I'm writing to y'all right here. The boy deal with seizures. He's been dealing with them. They got it on his medical records. This is not just me talking. I wanted to see if they presented, the lawyer actually presented that in court. And I'm about to show y'all medically why I ain't lying. Hold on. Hyperventilation, y'all. The panic and physical exertion of an altercation often led to rapid breathing. This lowers the carbon dioxide levels in the blood, changing the brain chemistry enough to precipitate a seizure. You ain't got to believe me? You ain't got to believe me? You ain't got to believe me? All you got to do is take your ass over here. Take your ass over here. To the seizure website and look it up yourself. That's all you got to do. Just go right over to the seizure website and look it up yourself. See, I said, well, why would he run track? Well, guess what it says? Listen to what I said to y'all. Highlights. Seizures are rarely triggered by exercise. They're rarely triggered by exercise. That's the first thing that was listed. I had to look that up because I said, well, hold on. But you know what they are triggered by? You know what they are triggered by? Hyperventilation. Them boys run up on that boy. He gets nervous real quick. He says, hey, man. They tell him to get out. They walking up on him. He starts hyperventilating. Starts, hey, man. Hey, bro. Hey, touch me, see what happened, man. They run up on him. That boy might have got shook. I'm telling y'all this. Look at this right here, bro. Hyperventilation. It says it right here on your screen. The panic and physical exertion of an altercation often lead to rapid breathing. This lowers the carbon dioxide levels in the blood, changing the brain chemistry enough to precipitate a seizure. Are y'all not reading this? Now look at the question I asked right here. Could a person Carmelo Anthony's age die from a seizure. CBS News. Yes, a person Karmelo Anthony's age, 19 years old, can absolutely die from a seizure. While most seizures are not fatal, epilepsy carries inherent life-threatening risk regardless of the age. In young adults, the danger is predominantly driven by sudden medical complications, prolonged seizure states, or physical accidents occurring during an episode. See, show y'all something. Show y'all something. Show y'all something. A person can die if a seizure lasts longer than 5 minutes, or if they suffer multiple seizures back to back without waking up in between. This medical emergency is known as a status epilepticus. That boy suffers from epilepsy, and that's in the doctor's notes. He already had an incident in 2024 that was reported to the doctors, and that was reported in his case. The jury ignored this information. The lawyer actually did enter this evidence, and he said this was the reason that exacerbated, but we never saw this because you know why? They didn't put the trial on TV. See, the doctors and the experts can explain this. So what did I do, you guys? You know what I did? And I will link the source to this in the description box after this video. To Dr. Omar Danoun, who works, right? He's licensed in the United States of America. You can look him up.
Hi, if you have epilepsy, then you should avoid these 7 triggers to make sure that you do not have seizures and live a seizure-free life.
Now, Dr. Omar says, and you guys can look him up on YouTube, he has a lot of followers. He says this. Listen right here to what he says. Let's play it. Play that part right there. Let me play this part for y'all. I want to make sure y'all get this right here.
Be a trigger for your seizures, so getting that under good control is important. And the third factor is stress. Stress is a major trigger for seizures. Either physiological stress means like you work hard, you're running a marathon, or work too hard on your body, that can trigger a seizure. Or if it's a psychological stress, worry, stress, anxiety, all of that can be a trigger for your seizure. And the fourth one is...
Now, did you hear what he said? Psychological stress. This is the same thing I'm showing y'all on the screen. When you get anxious, when you get all of these things, it can cause you to have a seizure and it can kill him. And I proved it right here. That boy has epilepsy. You can look it up. That's on the doctor's record. Karmelo Anthony has epilepsy. He can't fight. So when the lawyer had went online and said, well, I teach my boys how to fight, I put them in school. Well, guess what? Karmelo Anthony, he literally can't fight. Because if somebody punches Karmelo Anthony in the head, he has a potential of getting a seizure and dying right there. These are all facts. And again, you can get as mad as you want. You can type in all caps. It's not going to change the fact that all this is on the record. All this is on the record. So when you add and factor in that this boy suffers from seizures, and seizures can kill him, and the number one trigger for seizures, you guys, is fear. Game over. Y'all can go look this up on the medical website yourself. It's right there. Matter of fact, I put on the screen for you. I'm showing you this right here. See, y'all got to understand something. Some of these kids do have medical conditions, right? Now think about what I just said, though, right? Think about what I just said, though. right? There are circumstances in which partial seizures may be misdiagnosed, in particular when fear is the prominent feature. Let me outline this. In particular, when fear is the prominent feature of the patient may be considered for years as having panic attacks. 8 patients in whom fear was the main symptom of the seizures are reported on. Let me repeat that again. 8 patients in whom fear was the main symptom of the seizures are reported on. Are y'all not understanding that? Are you not understanding that? So a quick, and I'm gonna say this again to the person who says, "Let me do this, let me do that." Do whatever you're gonna do, dog. It don't matter. Do whatever you want to do now, because I'm telling you the facts. Carmelo Anthony has epilepsy. That's a fact. Carmelo Anthony literally can't get in a fight and deal with head trauma. That's a fact. If Carmelo Anthony was pushed and hit his head, he has a chance to have a seizure and die. That's a fact. I'm not lying. This is all entered in the case. In fact, you guys can go look at the case record and you'll see it. That's why I said this case should have been televised. If this case was televised, everybody would have saw it on TV. Everybody would have saw it on TV. Right? This is why I'm telling y'all. People don't want to hear this stuff, but when you say it, it's the truth. It's literally the truth. Right? So I'll show you this. You guys can all go to the seizure website. And here on the seizure website, it explains everything about seizures and what causes them and what doesn't cause them. Because when I first read this, I said, well, hold on. The boy plays sports. But guess what? The sports, they're fine for people who suffer seizures and more in general. You can read it right here. It's right here on the website. The sports aren't usually a big issue at all. Hold on, where'd I put it? Oh, my bad. I'm on the wrong one. The sports aren't really a big issue at all. I'll prove it to you again. Seizures are rarely triggered by exercise. Aerobic exercise seems to be safe for most persons with epilepsy, right? Persons with controlled epilepsy should be stimulated to exercise, right? Now, physical exercise should be encouraged as a complementary therapy to improve, right, comorbidities and PWE. Now, look at this, y'all. Look at this, y'all. Show y'all this right now, right? Introduction. The practice of physical exercise by persons with epilepsy has been a matter of debate for health professionals dealing with this disease and of concern for the patients themselves and families and caregivers. A question frequently asked if exercise could result in an increase of seizures. As physicians themselves were unable to properly counsel PWE, they have been discouraged from participating in physical activities or sports. But PWE must deal with many social and cultural stigmas, so that restricting physical activity contributes to further limitations to normal and healthy life. Now, hold on, you guys. Watch this. Some surveys performed in the last decade show that PWE perceive their health as poor and exercise less than the population without epilepsy. Additionally, the same 106 PWE followed for a mean of 35 years presented a significantly poor physical fitness than matched controls, even if they had a feeling of good personal health. Now, hold on, you guys. Hold on, you guys. Right? Guidelines to physical activity issued by medical organizations are scarce in general, although there appears to be a recent shift towards encouraging rather than restricting participation. That is in physical activity, sports, right? Now, watch this, you guys. Watch this, you guys. Here's what we got right here. And this right here is what is going to show you what I'm talking about, right? Now, right? Look at what I'm talking about right here. precipitating factors. Let's read that right there. Potentially many seizure precipitating factors exist in relation to physical exercise, fatigue, stress, repeated head injury during contact sports, excess aerobic exercise, hyperventilation, changes in metabolism, and antiepileptic drugs, AEDs, right? Now, in ionic and metabolic disturbances. Now, in general, seizures seem to rarely be triggered by physical activity. In a study encompassing 400 PWE, only 2 were able to identify physical activity as a participant. So you don't have to say, okay, well, why did he run track? Why did he play football? Right? Right? But watch this right here, y'all. No link has been established between post-exercise fatigue and increased seizure frequency. And read the next line. Stress has been identified as a seizure trigger in a considerable number of patients, suggesting that intense, right, athletic activity may increase seizures. In addition, physical stress, and so look. So this is the reason why you wouldn't want him in fights. Now watch this right here. It talked about this right here. The hyperventilation. It triggers obscene seizures. That tape is very important. See the mindset of that boy when them boys walked up on him. That boy might have went in fear. He might have went in panic. And his case will be different. Because as I showed you guys right here, and I'll show you again, I wrote it right here. Can pushes or physical altercations cause seizures? Yes, pushes or physical altercations can cause seizures, right? Once again, pushes or physical altercations can cause seizures through both physical trauma and extreme psychological stress. And then I ask y'all this. Could a person Karmelo Anthony's age die from a seizure? Yes, a person of Karmelo Anthony's age, 19 years old, can die, absolutely die from a seizure. And it said, while most seizures are fatal, epilepsy carries inherent life-threatening risk regardless of the age. Karmelo Anthony has epilepsy. Karmelo Anthony has epilepsy. The lawyer presented this in the court. It's in the files. It says it right here. Right? During the trial, the Nivi's law firm and defense attorney Mike Howard introduced his epilepsy diagnosis to provide critical context regarding his vulnerability and state of mind during the physical altercation. Everybody's been talking about Karmelo Anthony as if it's just a normal kid that doesn't have or suffer from seizures or things like that. Now think about the difference. If you're dealing with a kid who suffers with seizures versus a normal kid, the whole parameter changes on his mindset, his thought process. This is why you need doctors to come in and explain that, because average people that type on YouTube will never explain that. But let me say this. If you turn the tables, right, and you change the races and that person was dealing with seizures and things like that, and 2 guys walked up on him and pushed him and tried to get him to leave, you got a whole different dynamic. You have a whole different dynamic. So when people say, I had to find out why he carries a knife with him, he can't fight. He can't, literally, any brain trauma can kill that boy because he can have a seizure. And if he has a seizure for more than 5 minutes, it can kill him. And the only thing that made me find this was when his dad said in that interview yesterday that they took his seizure medicine to the jail. I said, his seizure medicine? His father said it in the interview with the Breakfast Club. Go look it up. When she asked, how was the son doing? He said, oh, I had to take him his seizure medication, but I haven't been able to get in contact with him because they already transferred him. And I said, seizure medication? And now it makes sense. If you have seizures and suffer from seizures and you can't fight, what's the best way to protect yourself? And think about this. Karmelo Anthony never was in a fight. He's never been reported to be in a fight. If Karmelo Anthony was in any trouble, they would have presented that in court. He had zero criminal record. This is the crazy part. That's why I said it had to be something. Bullying, something. I had to look at it. Right? And think about this. You can't walk away if two people walk up on you pushing you. You can't. Think about what I said to you. That's why it's important. Everybody that's watching this video, we were all did a disservice by not being able to see the trial. The judge could have squashed all this shit by letting us see the trial and letting us see the video. That way, once we all seen the video, we could all see the parameters of how this shit went down and everybody ain't speculating. But the fact that that boy got seizures, now it changes everything. They presented that and the jury said, no, I don't care about that shit. Think about it. But if the tables was turned and two big 6'2" black dudes walked up on a 5'8" white boy who suffered from seizures and pushed on him, would the tables be turned if he reacted and did that to a black boy? You have to answer that question. R.I.P. to Austin Metcalf. I don't like to see what happened to that young fella. But I had to find out if it's true. And I looked at the records and it is true. And let me say this. It's not too late. This can be presented as a part of your appeal. Because guess what? They filed this in the court. It's right here in the paperwork. They filed this in the court. Right here. They filed it in the court. The medical detail was officially confirmed by the defense attorneys during his high-profile June 2026 murder trial in Collin County, Texas. According to the court disclosures, they entered that into evidence, his medical records. And the jury says, I don't care about that. That has to mean something. That's why I said you have to have these doctors going along with these people to explain the effects. You have to. There is no way you can't go and not have a doctor explain those effects, right? So let's talk about the triggers, because the doctor talks about the triggers.
Most important trigger is drugs. So if you take drugs such as stimulant drugs like cocaine or amphetamine, those can trigger your seizures. And the other thing is food. If you are hungry, if you skip meals, that can be a trigger for. So as dehydration can be a major trigger for somebody's seizure. Some certain foods like high calorie foods and anything in excessive can be a trigger for your seizures. And then the question about caffeine and seizures and coffee is kind of plus and minus. So usually coffee by itself and caffeine does not trigger epilepsy, even though we have some reported cases of people who have seizure triggered by caffeine, but this is rare. But caffeine, if you consume it after noon, it can delay the sleep and it can disturb the sleep, and that by itself can cause seizures to happen. And in some cases of epilepsy, flashing lights, especially high frequency and consistent flashing light, can be a trigger for seizures, and it's called photosensitive epilepsy type. And if you're still having seizures despite controlling for all those factors and taking your medications consistently, and if you took at least 2 medications, then you might be having what we call drug-resistant epilepsy. If you would say this is a stubborn type of epilepsy that continue to happen even with all the medications. And to treat that and what is drug-resistant epilepsy, I made this video to detail.
Now, play this. Now, Karmelo Anthony suffers from epilepsy. It's a difference between epilepsy and seizures. And I'm going to play that to y'all.
electrical activity in the brain.
Seizures can occur for many different reasons, sometimes from metabolic problems, or even medications could cause a seizure on an isolated basis, or sometimes toxic sort of chemicals could cause a seizure.
But if a patient has a seizure, it doesn't mean they have epilepsy.
Epilepsy actually is defined as having multiple unprovoked seizures.
That boy got epilepsy. His situation is worse. He has multiple unprovoked seizures. Let me play that again for y'all. This ain't me. This is coming from the doctors themselves. Matter of fact, let me put this up here for y'all, just so y'all can see. This is not coming from Ticket. Let me put this up here for y'all. I want to make sure that you guys get the correct information over here, because I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to play what the doctor's saying. Now, I think you guys can see the screen, right? I think y'all can see the screen. All right. Listen very closely. Karmelo Anthony suffers from epilepsy. Now, listen to what he says, the difference between having seizures and having epilepsy. It's very important, man.
Activity in the brain.
Seizures can
There's an overproduction. It happens when there's an overproduction of electrical activity in the brain.
Seizures can occur for many different reasons, sometimes from metabolic problems, or even medications could cause a seizure on an isolated basis, or sometimes toxic sort of chemicals could cause a seizure.
But if a patient has a seizure, it doesn't mean they have epilepsy.
Epilepsy actually is defined as having multiple unprovoked seizures.
There are many different types of seizures, just like there are many different types of epilepsy. To determine the difference and the cause, patients may undergo a series of testing, including an MRI and an EEG screening.
The EEG is particularly helpful to look to see electrically where in the brain the seizure could be coming from.
A physical examination, a detailed medical history, and diagnostic testing can help physicians diagnose and treat the problem.
They are treated differently. Commonly, if we find there is a provoking occurrence, simply removing the provoking occurrence is enough to cause the seizures to go away. Or if we need to use a medication, if it truly is an epilepsy syndrome.
Approximately.
Now, he said if we need to use the medication, if it's truly an epilepsy syndrome, well, you can't stop that. Karmelo Anthony is one of 3.5 million people in the United States that has epilepsy. So he has a situation where he has to have medicine for that. So now those parameters change. See, people will say, oh, dude, it still doesn't make it. No, it changes your perception and your mindset on everything, right? If you're a kid that literally can't get in a fight because if you get beat up or you get punched or you get pushed down the bleachers and you hit your head, you can have a seizure and die. It won't even be a knife. It won't even be a gun. It'll just be the fact that you had stress, force, or blunt force trauma or stress, any which way you want to say it, and that can cause you to have a seizure. If he don't have his medicine, he can die. That's why his father said, hey, I had to take his medicine to the jail. He has to have seizure medication. Y'all not understanding this? That's why it's important for them to have brought all those doctors in the courthouse to explain that boy got epilepsy. He don't just have seizures. Epilepsy is a series of seizures. That's when you can't control it and stop it. Listen to, that's why I play this shit for y'all, so you'll get it through your head. Listen to what he said.
Be coming from
A physical examination, a detailed medical history, and diagnostic testing can help physicians diagnose and treat the problem.
They are treated differently. Commonly, if we find there is a provoking occurrence, simply removing the provoking occurrence is enough to cause the seizures to go away. Or if we need to use a medication, if it truly is an epilepsy syndrome.
Yep, if we need to use a medication, if it truly is an epilepsy syndrome. That boy got epilepsy. That's why he got the medication. He don't have it where it's something that's triggering him that they can just remove it and stop it. That boy got epilepsy. Look it up. Don't listen to me. That changes the entire parameters. I don't think y'all understand that, right? You guys don't understand, and it's unfortunate for everybody involved. I'm not celebrating Austin Metcalf being killed. I don't celebrate that. But I'm telling you right now, You guys had to, if he would have got a fair trial, they would have to look into this medically. All of these things had to mean something. If a boy suffers from epilepsy and has uncontrollable seizures, it means something if somebody comes up and pushes him. And to the person in the comment section who's saying that he deserved that, he don't deserve that, bro. Don't no kid deserve to lose their life, brother. So cut that shit out, man. Real talk, bro. I don't want that over here, man. I don't want that, brother. Hold on. I don't want that. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So that's what I'm saying to y'all, right? That's what I'm saying to y'all. All y'all need to listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is real, right? What I'm saying is real to y'all. So you can get mad. You can say whatever you want to say. I'm saying facts. Factual information, right? And that's all there is to it. I didn't want to see the boy lose his life. I'm not on that. I'm not cut like that. That's not how I get down. But what y'all not going to do is y'all not going to come in here and act like this boy didn't have nothing. It's not going to happen like that, dog. You guys, this is sad, man.
And is enough to cause the seizures to go away, or if we need to use a medication, if it truly is an epilepsy syndrome.
Approximately 3.5 million people in the U.S. have epilepsy, whereas studies show 1 in 10 people may experience a seizure in their lifetime.
Folks who do have epilepsy, true epilepsy syndromes, the risks of recurrence of seizure can be quite high.
There it goes right there. That boy got epilepsy. The risk of recurrent seizures can be high. Here it goes again. I'm showing y'all what it is. I'm showing y'all what it is. I'm not saying this. The doctor's telling you this. The doctor's telling you this. The doctor's telling you. To the brother who said he isn't confirmed, he is confirmed. They actually put it in the courtroom. Go look at the court records, boy. The hell is wrong with you? Go pull up the court records. Or you want me to go pull up the court records for you to show you where they put it in and had the other firm come with them to put it in. So to the person who says the epilepsy card now, no, they actually put this in the trial. Ma'am, see, you guys are racist. Don't come in here with your racist narratives because I bring facts. Don't come in here with your racist narratives because I bring facts. Go look in the court casework and see if he has epilepsy. Talking about something, there's no proof. There is proof that he has epilepsy. There is proof. They actually put it in the case. Look it up. Go look. As a matter of fact, go pull up the case paper, the court paperwork, the transcripts to see if they put it in there. They did pull it up. That's one of the rare things the lawyer did do. The hell wrong with these people? Like I said, you heard what he said on the screen, the doctor? The doctor just told y'all. I'm going to say it again.
People in the U.S. have epilepsy, whereas studies show 1 in 10 people may experience a seizure in their lifetime.
Folks who do have epilepsy, true epilepsy syndromes, the risks of recurrence of seizure can be quite high.
Quite high.
So most all of those patients do require medical care and medication to try to control their seizures.
Yep. And Karmelo Anthony is one of those people. He's one of those 3.5 million in America. Now, you want the facts or you don't want the facts? I gave you the facts. Now you can go look it up yourself. Go to the court, go pull up the court transcript and look it up yourself and see if I'm lying about that. See if I'm lying. He taking medication right now for epilepsy. Now,
hey, we always appreciate the support, and if you guys want to do so, you can use the Cash App or PayPal links. They'll be in the description box below this video or pinned at the top of the comments. The top donators will be announced every month. All right, you guys, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure y'all cop the merch, and make sure that you get the weight loss formula. The links to that will be in the description box below this video. Check out our next video coming up right now.